Hi, my name is Hiraj, product specialist at Yamaha. I am here at Pitbull Audio in San Diego, presenting the TF Digital Mixer. This first video is just a casual overview of the main sections of the TF Mixer. The other TF videos will explain specific features in more detail. For pricing and availability, please contact a sales associate here at Pitbull Audio in San Diego. So the TF line consists of TF1, TF3, TF5. So TF1 has 16 inputs, 16 faders. TF3 has 24 inputs, 24 faders. And the TF5 has 32 faders and 32 inputs. So let's start with the back to kind of show you what it looks like. I'm going to explain the TF1 for this video, but it's the exact same thing, but just more inputs and more faders on the other mixes. So let's take a look at the back of it. The bottom, you have the power cord in, the power on and off. You have a foot switch. Foot switch could be assigned to multiple things. For example, could be assigned to effects on and off, or a tap tempo for the delay. You have a USB to host. This allows you to connect the TF to a Mac or PC to record in any DAW multiple tracks at the same time. Ethernet port, you can connect it to a router for using wireless remote control over the console, which I'll get to that later. The top part, this is your inputs. On the TF1, there are 16 combo jack inputs. So every input is a combo jack. These are discrete Class A mic preamps. On top of that, you have two banks of RCA's inputs. You have stereo in 1, stereo in 2, and those come separately on the front of the console. I'll show that later. And last but not least are your outputs. These are what we call them omni outs. So you have 1 through 16. Those are configurable the way you want to, but out the box, the TF1, TF3, TF5, 15 and 16 are your main outputs. aux 1, aux 2, and 3, and 4, and so on, predetermined that way. You can change them if you want to. This slot right here is where you can insert a Dante card that allows you to use a Cat5 or a Cat6 for large distances to connect to our stage box, which is called the TO. And you can connect 3 of those TOs in series, one after the other, daisy chained. And finally, it comes back to here, so you can use combination of inputs from the mixer or the TO stage box. Let's take a look at the front of the mixer. So this is a quick overview of the front of the console. Nothing specific details right now, but just a quick overview. And remember, there are other videos that I'm going to go into more details about this console. So let's start from the top, actually. First, you can't help notice the large screen. And the first thing you notice when you power the mixer on, it asks you what language you want to operate this mixer in. So this is great if for other languages to navigate through. So in this case, I'm just going to select English, and then it will take me through the other choices. All right, so that's the front panel. Notice the touch screen. These are the 2 stereo inputs that are described in the back. This is stereo input number 1. This is stereo input number 2 for the 2 RCAs in the back. But they do something more. We'll get to that in a second. You have assignable knobs at the bottom of the screen. You have the home, which takes you directly to the main page. You have the star, which is the quick professional presets, and some utility functions to access. The top of the screen, in fact, there are additional functions. When you touch on the scenes, it takes you to the scenes. If you press on home, it takes you to home. And there are other functions which I'll get to later. To the right are user-definable keys. Those I can assign them to anything I want from the menu available. These are my 2 effect processors. I can edit them. I can turn them on. I can change their return level. I can mute all inputs, mute effects. Those could be assigned to the FC5 foot switch in the back that I described earlier. Your metering, your cue clear, your headphones, and a special specific knob for the headphones. These are my fader banks. So I have input 1, input 2, my output. If I press these 2 together are my groups. If I press these 2 together are my custom layer, which I'll talk about later. These are my select. So if I want to change anything for specific channels, I can select it. It will automatically update on the screen, and vice versa. If I touch on the screen, it will automatically select the corresponding fader. My Q buttons, I have a peak, up to a peak levels indicators for me to visually to see what's going on. I have on and off for the channels. My channel scribble, which is very high definition. I can look at it from different angles. From the top, I can change the illumination of them. I can change the coloring. Very usable. I have motorized faders depending on the size of the TF we're talking about. In this case, it's a TF1. TF1 is 16 faders. TF3 is 24 faders. TF5 is 32 faders. You have your master stereo fader right here, your tap tempo, your effect sends 1 and 2, and you have aux on fader flip mode. So when you press an aux, these faders become my aux sends at this point. And remember, these are motorized faders, so it's great to see where you're at that point. So again, this is a quick overview of the TF1. So let's get into the other videos to talk about maybe very specific features of the TF.